one of the things that I was curious about when we were first talking about owning a van and looking at vans and kitchens and things was what it would actually be like to cook in one. You see lots of videos of people talking about how they outfit their kitchen or how they, you know, pack up and whatnot, but not really actually cooking. It is really tight in here, so it's hard to get camera angles and be able to see everything. Okay, so let's talk about some of the realities of cooking in the Revel in an adventure van. They're very small. The kitchen's very small. I mean, look, here we go. I have my burner. I've covered the sink with the cutting board to give me more space, and I've popped up the counter extender to give me a little more space. And I got my frying pan out. I got to get my handle. It's still in the drawer. A couple hash browns, some eggs, and some fruit. I'm gonna make some breakfast for my son and I because we are at a wrestling tournament. This is not the normal adventure you would have in an adventure van, but it's one of the perks that I am loving a lot. So when my son has a tournament all day for sports, because I still have a son in high school, I bring the van, and in between bouts I can come out here and I can take a break and I can get away from all the crowds and stop sitting in bleachers and just take a break. I could take a little nap if I want, make some breakfast. So anyway, he just had his first round and now there's a big gap, so I'm gonna make some breakfast for the two of us. Handle. Now I gotta turn on the inverter here. There we go. Get that going. That way I get power to my cooktop. Okay, so I like to choose temperature, and I'm not gonna get a reading or be able to adjust until I put the pan on. And now my temperature pops up and I can choose a temperature. I'm gonna do eggs and hash browns, probably gonna go, so it goes from 330 to 360. I like 350, so that's a little unfortunate, but I'm gonna start at 330. This sucker cooks fast, so I'll go a little lower, and then I can adjust from there. Okay, since I don't currently have somebody with me to hold the camera, and I'm having to hold the camera while doing this, I just opened up the packages kind of off camera. And then I like to cook with butter. I just like real whole foods. It's just my thing. So I grease my pan up with a little bit of butter, toss in my hash brown here. And this sucker, it really does heat up fast, I find. So I'll cook this for a little bit. Both sides, get it going pretty good. Then I'm gonna add in a couple eggs. I like my eggs over medium, and then I can cut up this orange and I'll have one breakfast ready. And I would have to cook then my son's separate, or I could do both hash browns and then both eggs. But since my kid isn't coming out for a little bit to eat, I'm gonna cook mine, eat mine, and then when he gets here I'll cook his up for him. Oh, bowl got back behind there. There we go. I like to latch these as I go because otherwise I often forget. And then when you go to leave, stuff comes flying out. So I just try to keep them latched. Got a couple plates ready. Cut up an apple. Oops, an apple. An orange. Cut up an orange. Fresh off my tree from my house. I mean, we do live in the Central Valley of California. Can't live here and not have an orange tree, right? Okay. got a lot of salt on the other side, so probably won't salt this side. Let's get some eggs in there. Got the eggs in, a little salt and pepper on those. I'm not like a huge fan of my eggs particularly cooking up against my hash brown, but when you're in the van, you kind of gotta go with it. But it's not that big a deal. Kind of give it a minute here to kind of congeal up. I like to break my yolks. Personal preference, I don't know. I think it makes for more even distribution of yolk. And then I'll probably separate these so I can turn them up. They're not ready to do that really yet. Got them flipped. Salt and pepper. And that's it. I don't really season with anything else on eggs, just salt and pepper. And now just let it finish cooking and I'll have breakfast ready to go. Got my little helper here. All right. My breakfast is ready to go, and I've turned off this, so now I'll just leave all this out, which is not my normal, for whenever I'm ready to cook for my kiddo. Okay, now to sit down and enjoy. Okay, the kiddo's back and ready for some breakfast. Say hi, Parker. So here we go again, round two, cooking up some breakfast for him. One of the things that we have chosen to put our trash in the bathroom. I think I just locked that. I did not have it locked. Okay, there we go. So whenever I'm cooking, I kind of have to open this up to throw things away, which I find annoying. But we also don't really want a trash can like out in the van, because again, the van's super tight. So far we've been just dealing with that. I don't know. Go. Okay, so now I have my boy. He can hold the camera for me for a little bit. I'm gonna give flipping these eggs in the tent. Normally at home I cook on an electric like skillet. I don't know, what would you call that thing, Parker? And it's quite large, and I cook for, you know, lots of people and have plenty of room to flip things. So this is a little different, but I'm getting the hang of it. I do think that this cooking on this kind of browns the eggs a little bit. I'm sure if I turned it down and maybe cooked a little slower, it probably wouldn't do that. But we do kind of like the crispiness of it with the butter and the crispy edges, huh, Park?
Yes.
All right. These eggs will be done shortly. Okay, here you go, Park. Here's your dish, your breakfast. And I'm gonna let the pan cool down, and then we'll do some dishes, clean up the rest of this stuff, and that will wrap up cooking in the adventure van. How do you feel about it, Park, having a hot breakfast at a game?
Hungry. Go.
Okay, so again, my trash dilemma, which I don't appreciate. I guess we'll figure that out. But I'm gonna take my handful of dishes here and cover up my burner here. That's where I'll place the dishes to dry. Well, I will dry them, but for now I'll wash them, place them here, and then when I'm all done, I'll dry them all up and put them away. So I have this shelf liner cut in my sink because the faucet rattles when you're going down the road. So I just cushion that in there so that it doesn't make noise. Take off my jacket so I can push up my sleeves here. My sponge is near, hang on. Soap. Now, I like to conserve water quite a bit, so I tend to turn it on and off. Obviously, that's kind of up to what you like or want to do. Pop my handle off, put it away, and here we go. I'm gonna go as quickly as I can. Because again, and I can turn the water lower. It's a good tip. And we're done. And then one of the things I thought was kind of strange on the Revel, it doesn't drain on its own. If you look in the sink, Parker, there is, can you see in there?
Yeah.
So there's water, it just stays up. I have to push this little lever and get it to pull the water out, which I find I have to click it a couple times before it'll finally work. So my husband's gonna get in there and check that out and figure out why it doesn't work right away, because it should instantly drain your sink. Anyway, that wraps up cooking. Dishes are the worst part. The sink's tiny, but that's the reality of cooking in the Revel.